We wanted to have you on today. It's a big week. I mean, it's National Police Memorial Week, something we're very, very passionate about here, and I know you are too, and the governor is as well. So we wanted to kind of have you on and let you talk about that for a minute, and kind of talk about why it's such an important week to remember and honor those who are out there fighting every day for us, and those who have lost their life, unfortunately, over the past couple of years.
Yeah, well, if you talk about living a life of purpose, those who are in law enforcement certainly do that. They live a life of purpose. They live a life of sacrifice, putting the needs of others, including, in many cases, their own safety, in sacrificing that to serve the needs of others. And we're going to honor this week the lives of the fallen. Last year, we lost 9 Ohio police officers who died in the line of duty, and we're going to honor those individuals this week because, look, whether you're working out on the highway as a highway patrolman out there who never knows what they're going to may come up on a tragic accident. They may pull over somebody who is, came across the border with a load of fentanyl. You never know what you're going to come up on. Whether you're the Ohio State Police who are confronting the demonstrators and enforcing the rules to protect the other students, or if you're just working for one of our sheriff's departments or local cities, every day there's something new. There's something that hopefully your training prepared you for, but there are people who need you, who depend on you every single day in your line of work. And so we're going to thank you and honor you this week during National Police Week.
And that's something that, we say all along here, that we really need to be doing that all the time. And it's and I feel like these last several years, especially since 2020, it just the sentiment towards officers has just taken a dive. And you look at, I started to pull some stats on a line of death that has occurred in the law enforcement community, and here is something I found that I thought, it spoke volumes. In the last 10 years across the country, 2,700 officers died in the line of duty. 2,700. That averaged about 270 a year. In the last 5 years, that number is 1,800. That average is 362 a year. These last 5 years have been horrific for law enforcement, and these are we're just highlighting here the line of duty deaths.
Yeah, 2/3 of all the deaths in the last 10 years have occurred in the last 5 years.
Right, and just the amount of assaults on officers, and I hate to make it a political thing, but it comes down to it. One side of our political spectrum here has emboldened the thugs and the criminal element to do whatever they want to do out there on the street, and their day in court is they don't even talk about that. We're going to settle it right now, and it's just I don't know how we turn that around for these people and to encourage others to get into this field. We need to get good people in this field, but it's becoming harder and harder when you look out there and you say, why on earth would I do this job? And if I have to make a hard decision in a split-second time, I'm going to get chastised for it later on and possibly lose my career and
be prosecuted for it.
Right, exactly. I don't know, sir, what your thoughts are on that?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, they need to feel supported. The law enforcement needs to feel supported. They don't, when they have a mayor or a city council member or somebody like that thinks that the police are guilty until proven innocent. That's not the kind of environment you want to work in. But if you have a mayor or a city council or a governor or lieutenant governor who say we're going to back the blue, we're going to support you, we're going to train you, we're going to first of all put the resources forward to give you the proper training for all scenario-based situations, that we're going to provide you the proper equipment, that we're going to support you with laws and regulations that will make the job safer and better. All of those things are very important, and that we're going to honor you. And this is the other thing. This is why doing this is important, this National Police Week, is because we have to honor what we value, okay? If we value service, if we value sacrifice, we need to do that in our society. We need to hold special events where we honor people. And then we need to send that message to society, to younger generations, that this is a noble profession, it's an honorable profession, and the people that go into it, we're going to respect them and value it. We're going to respect the rule of law. We're going to enforce the rule of law. And when we see in our society where we've had pockets of this in some of our urban-run communities where they haven't respected law enforcement, that's when you start to see these things happen. That's when people think they have a license to walk up behind an officer who's on a motorcycle or a car and take a shot at them or do something like that, because we create a culture where people think it's okay, and that is not okay, and we need to create a culture where we respect law enforcement and they're held in honor, not in contempt. And when we do that, you'll see the environment get better, and that's what I hope we're all doing by having this conversation today and through the work that we do during National Police Week.
And I think sometimes we look at it locally, because that's obviously where we live, and we say, geez, what can the governor, what can the lieutenant governor do at a state level to help the crime in Columbus, to help the sentiment against officers in Columbus? But there is things. I mean, we recently talked about in Florida, they put a law into place at the state level that mandates any civilian review board for any of the cities who choose to do that must have a certain number of former police officers or individuals who are not just woke social justice people who are anti-police on it. So things like that I think can be done to trickle down and impact some of the change that we're seeing locally. JC?
Oh, no, absolutely. In some cases, close at hand, it almost seems like a kangaroo court out there, and I just think it does a disservice to the citizens, certainly to the police officers, when you have people coming in with this predisposed, I'm going to get you mental attitude anyway. And so that would be a great law to have. I mean,
right.
We need to have people who've been there, done that, and put their input in. So.
Right. And you know what? I wanted to mention this before, and I kind of forgotten stuff. But, I wanted to thank him as well, too, because, Lieutenant Governor, you were around for the original signing of the concealed carry law in Ohio, correct?
That's correct. I was there for the first concealed carry, and then as we continued to improve the law, I was Speaker of the House when we overrode Governor Bob Taft's veto of it, and then as we had continued to advance the law, and Governor DeWine signed the most recent concealed carry law, I was in the room for that. So. All of this journey we've had with advancing Second Amendment rights in the state of Ohio, over the course of the last 20 years, I've been privileged to get to be a part of all of it.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Sometimes we don't say that enough, and it doesn't get said enough, but really that is...
And our gallery here just applauded you when you said that about the override, just so you know. So
there you go. so we're obviously... Well, go ahead, sir.
No. Go ahead, please.
We're obviously kicking off Police Memorial Week and spending some time thinking about law enforcement and our men and women out there who go out there every day, day in and day out. But one of the things that has made it increasingly more difficult to fight crime and stuff is it seems to be the open border mentality. What can states do? What can Ohio do to help that and to help maybe do our part in closing the door and giving an extra hand to officers when they encounter these illegals?
Yeah, well, it's tragic how President Biden has allowed the open border crisis to affect communities all across this country and really make a laughingstock of the whole idea of the rule of law in America at our border. But what we've done, Governor DeWine, at the request of Governor Abbott of Texas, we sent the National Guard, the Ohio National Guard, to the border to help in a supporting role with what they're doing in Texas to enforce the border rules. We sent our Highway Patrol to work with Texas State Police in a support role for what they're doing. So Ohio has been actively involved in helping governors, the governor of Texas mainly, in trying to protect and close the border. But then we also have to, because if we don't stop the drugs and the cartels and the human traffickers at the border, eventually that comes into our communities. And understand, the fentanyl that we have in Ohio that is creating such a drug crisis and criminal crisis in our state is not happening because of Ohioans. It's happening because China is producing this fentanyl. It's moving it into Mexico. It's coming across the porous border and ending up in the Columbuses, the Chillicoths, and the places all across our state where it is impacting our communities. It's addicting people. It's creating, crime that follows that when people commit robberies and burglaries and things like that to fuel their drug habits. It's inviting organized cartels into our state. So we have to do more. We're going to have to do more in this election in November to put senators and presidents in place that will solve this border crisis. But that's what we can do. That's what we're trying to do in Ohio to protect our citizens from the ravages of the crime at the border.
And sir, I don't know if you have the power, but if you need like a single officer, I still have my commission. If you need to send me down there, I'm ready to go. I can probably be ready by this afternoon. So if that comes up, I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, it may. If we don't do well in this election this fall, we may have to have the states take a more aggressive role. I say that kind of jokingly, but maybe not. We may have to step in bigger.
Wow. So the other thing, and I know we've kind of talked about this a little bit offline before, kind of changing gears. There's things that we're seeing other states do, and I'm happy to see Ohio has started to go down this path too. And JC, we talked about it last week. It's specifically some of the credit card proposals that are out there with these credit card companies to they're really going after the law-abiding citizen who purchase items at gun stores such as LEPD, and the entire program is a flawed program. But they're saying that they're doing their duty. It's their duty to notify whoever it is when people are using their credit card at a gun store, and we're seeing other states go and ban this practice. And I think Ohio, JC, you said there's a bill.
There was a bill that has already passed all the way through the Senate, and so it was reviewed, went through the entire process, passed through the Senate, and now it's sitting with the House of Representatives. But my understanding is it's at the very first stage, and they haven't really done anything, at least as my information is of last week. It's still sitting there, and what I've heard is they have other things to do. But yeah, I just think it's really important. 14 other states have done this, and there's no real reason before it. And it's any store that happens to sell firearms. It's going to be a sporting goods store, it could be like Cabela's or Bass Pro Shops or something. And why would they need this? You can go in and buy a gun safe and a bunch of T-shirts, and all of a sudden, on a credit card, you're reported. So the banks don't really do anything with this except pass it on to ATF, FBI, the government. And this is our Second Amendment rights.
If you're a law-abiding citizen, you shouldn't have to put up. And passing a law in the state of Ohio is a very good thing to do. But understand what's happening in our society. What they can't do, what woke interests can't do via law, they're trying to force businesses to do on their behalf, or threaten them with certain types of sanctions. And so we need to provide those protections in our law. If you're a law-abiding citizen, nobody should be turning information over about you regarding your financial transactions. It is an overreach by federal regulators to do this. We need to protect our citizens and our businesses in Ohio from this. It's a pretty simple fix, and we should do it.
Wonderful. Well, we're getting close to the bottom of the hour here, sir. We really, really appreciate all you do. We appreciate you coming on today, but we appreciate all you've done, all the governor has done in supporting the Second Amendment rights and supporting law enforcement. And we certainly are here for you if you need anything from us. But thank you on behalf of the law enforcement, the first responders in our communities, for everything you guys do.
Yeah, let's just next week, let's make sure that we honor the men and women in blue, that we remind people that we value their sacrifice, and that we share that with our children, our friends and neighbors, so that we can lift up those who enforce and protect us and enforce the laws that we elevate the stature of that profession in our society, and that we protect them so that they can protect us.
Absolutely. Amen. Thank you so much, sir. Be safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon.
God bless. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Governor Jon Husted, always good to hear from him. We talked to him quite a bit. Always been a good friend of us here at the store. So.